Okay, well, here we are with Halls of Montezuma. About ready to start. I know I'm going to screw up a lot of rules here. It's the next morning. I don't remember everything I said last night. I've looked at the rules some more. I looked at the playthrough. I almost never do that. Still feel very uncomfortable, but let's get started. Alright, the players alternate in drawing and executing 4 action cards each. The initiative player first. I believe the Mexicans have initiative. At this point in the game, I think they have it until the Americans declare war. I'm not going to look it up. Okay, so, actually though, the sequence of play isn't very good. There we go. Implement all events noted on the turn record track. Let's see what happens on turn 1. U.S. may not declare war at the start of the turn. 4 cards each. And no mandatory. Great. I just wanted to make sure we had some. Okay, so the first Mexican card is Heat. Each unit or force which spends movement points this turn takes movement attrition. I'm going to need to leave that face up. There's a Heat counter. There's counters for all these kind of informational cards. They're useful to remember things, but it's also easy to forget even so. Alright, over to the U.S. Political insight. You may view the hidden side of one PW city marker. That's these things. I don't know. They're not on the map. I better look. Maybe I've forgotten something for setup. Okay, well, there's no indication that I can find on the setup card that says you put these in place. However, there's no indication of how they come on. Now this is one of the big problems with CDGs for me. It's quite possible, very possible, that there's a card that says put all these PW city markers on the map, or put one on the map, or whatever. I have no idea. I can't know the game or understand it without knowing every single card, and I will not do that because the cards provide an element of surprise which is pleasing to me. I've brought this up other times, but when I look here I see lots of little PW markers on the map. This is turn 2. My assumption is this was just left out of the setup. So I'm putting them, there's exactly one for each city which does affect political will. When it comes down to it, I know their effect. I'm able to find that pretty easily. I looked in the rules, and also in the city conquest table, there's a city modifier, which is printed on the map itself, and then there's a PW marker modifier. So this is just an additional modifier to the advantage of conquering a city. Now, there's just so many different variables of randomness here, because not only is there a modifier on the map, but for some reason there's this counter added to the random die roll that chances are you can't see without a card like this. I got no idea. And I don't know how much it's going to add to my experience to look at one of these. I'm going to peek. Okay, so conquered +3. What does that mean, though? Because there's different values on these. Well, I'm assuming it gives a +3 to the city conquest marker. I want to peek at a few others. Yeah, they all say conquered on the back. Great. Okay, I didn't know if they were providing some additional information there. Again, I don't know if those markers disappear after a conquest. That's possible. I might have to look that up. So those may be an additional modifier to the first conquest, but they do seem pretty random and just things that are added to a random die roll. And there's a lot of that in this game where, oh, we got one random effect here and another one here, and they all kind of feed into the same place. It's like too many little pieces. Very inelegant design in my view. Alright, so let's go for another Mexican one. Reinforcements. U.S. Draw 1 leader and 6 units. Leader and 3 units during crisis. Mexico, draw 1 leader and 4 units. Leader and 3 units if government collapsed. Well, government's not collapsed. Let's do the Mexican first. Now this is the only reinforcements card that can happen. You got to figure out where reinforcements go. Leaders are kind of in a pool. Unfortunately, I've got the armies with them right now. But here, I'm getting Canales. He's able to lead not just guerrillas. I may have misled you on that. And 4 units. Bunch of different guys. The colors, what do they mean? Well, these I think are regulars. These are all militia, in addition to their type. And the Americans get a leader. What is that? 3 units? They'll get good old Worth, who's pretty decent. And some very good infantry. And some artillery. I'm going to figure out where these go. Both look up in the rules where I'm allowed to place them, but more importantly, where I want to place them, and I can't do that without thinking a bit. Okay, so I placed my reinforcements. Essentially, I put a bunch of troops under Kearney for the U.S., and I gave that kind of good commander Worth, of Fort Worth fame, of course, over to the main stack to give them a good combat leader. He's not very easy to move. He has a bad strategic rating, very high value. Kearney's a very good leader at the beginning of the game. For the Mexicans, I gave everything to Arista with the baggage train. He's now got a fairly good sized stack there. Except for Canales himself, who went off to Alta California. The reason for that is the Texas card can put troops into the disputed zone. I want a commander for those troops if possible. And I had no place better to put him. Alright, let's go on. And I've revealed one of these. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm wrong. There aren't enough political will markers for every city. I thought Alta California has one. Well, if there's any place that probably doesn't get one, it's Mexico. So I'll put this down in Monterrey. But again, this is not well described anywhere. I'll tell you that. And I mean, does Alta California deserve one? I don't know. I really don't know. It's all so confusing. All right. Let's go on. And I was suggested and told I should find the living rules. Well, I've already put the effort in on these. A game really should come with a decent rule set. Alright, let's go on to the US. Indian raid. Place one friendly raid marker on any space within 10 movement points of an Indian space. Alright, well, the raid rules. These are triggered by this, and they're worth, when you place these, they're just these suckers here, they're worth a half a political will placed against the opponent. I'm not sure exactly where I want to put one, though. That's kind of the point. I don't want to put it behind my line, in my path of travel, because they have a problem. Oh, and here, the wonderful index. So I looked up reinforcements. No, it's not under R, it's under P for placement of reinforcements. Nice, yeah? Okay. So let's see if raids is under R or maybe Indian and guerrilla raids. Raids. Okay, 16.2 is going to be where we're hitting with this. And let's see how those suckers work. I want to see the effects mainly. I know how to do it. There's the political will. They also convert the space into a transit space until removed. Remember, I said that can happen. It blocks supply line for either player unless there's a friendly unit or baggage train there. Well, a friendly unit can't be in a transit space, so what? Unless it was already there. Okay. But for a raid, we have to do a little roll. We need a 5 or more in a location, and it looks like there's no points on this. just says place. This isn't the regular. This is the action card. Yeah. So I don't actually roll here. Okay. So anywhere within 10, well, I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do here in particular, but I guess I can just try to place 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This looks kind of interesting, and it gives me a half victory point. That's probably the biggest thing it's going to do here, because I don't think I'm going to be able to smack supply very easily. Oh, 10 movement points. Wait a minute. I don't know if those are actual movement points. And yes, I am just learning, so it's going to be tough. So the roughs are worth 2, and some of the connections are worth more. So I may not have been able to put it there. In fact, I wasn't. Let's see from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Transits are worth 1? Yeah. Okay. 5, 6. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll put it here at Al Alamo. Remember Al Alamo? Alright. Yeah, I shouldn't be allowed. Let's see. The Mexicans. Politics. U.S. 10 regiments built. If at war or not. During crisis, no effect. But Mexico drew it. Remove a revolt marker. Awesome. Yucatan just went calm. Just like that. I was really worried I'm leaving this alone. Well, I'm glad I didn't put anything there given that. That was a real bonus for the U.S. Riots. Well, let's see. Looks like we got problems here. There's a revolt. The U.S. drew this, so he chooses a state to go into revolt, or to which the revolt spreads. Well, spreading doesn't make much sense. Well, now, what do I want in revolt? Where do I want Spain to be having problems? Those problems don't just affect Spain or Mexico. They also are going to affect me on the way down. I don't like a revolt, but I don't think that it's terribly going to affect me. I don't think it's going to terribly affect the Mexican player. Now, this is the U.S. drew this. I'm going to go look at revolts and think about this a little bit. Yeah, it has some effects on movement and supply status, and makes life a little bit more difficult. Let's take a look at what it actually says. 18.4, the effects. No supply line can be traced into or through unless the baggage train is there. It's treated as enemy control for retreat. No unit can take replacements. And a unit or force expending 1 or more movement points in the state suffers movement attrition. As far as I'm concerned, this is interesting because of the position that the Mexican army is in it, but they can pull out and move this way if they wanted to. If they move through here to try to reinforce Ampudia, they end up having to take attrition, and attrition looks bad. On the other hand, pushing it further down might be more interesting, but I'm going to put it right here. Here's the problem, though. If I put it here, it's easy for the Mexicans to suppress it. If I put it down here, I think it's much harder for them to actually suppress the revolt. And I'm going to leave it, well, but see, this is a nice little area that's very easy to conquer. It only takes three control markers to take the area, which makes something like Jalisco to be more exciting with its 6, or Sonora, which I don't really want to do because I want to be able to travel to get to California. I'll leave it here in San Luis Potosi, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's our rioting action. We go one last Mexican action. Indian raid. One friendly raid marker in any space within 10 of an Indian space. Well, it's easy to raid the Americans. If I can find a card. Got these local militia raids, which are different from the Indian ones. So I want to cut U.S. supply, and this looks like a good place to do some serious damage to that. Okay, and then... Now, equally, this would be interesting too, but I'm more worried about the U.S. moving forward there. And it's another reinforcements card. That doesn't happen because both players took reinforcements, so we draw again. Guerrillas. Move any and all guerrillas to any rough spaces. Can allies maybe move to the space if he is on the map? Well, there aren't any on the map. Oh, on the map or in the holding box. Well, we have a Guerrilla Uprising here. To any rough space, rough is going to be that orange color, and we're going to take Canales for this. And put him, I don't know where to put him particularly. He doesn't seem sufficient to defend this, but that looks like the most important area. Okay. Well, we've gotten through the random events phase, I think. Now, this deck gets reshuffled every turn, as well as needed if people are doing a lot of movement. Now we set up the hand of cards, and what's going to happen is the Mexicans get the Tajas card, which I think they're going to play first. And then each player is going to get a total of 4 cards. And then we'll move to the next segment, which is going to be the strategy, the action card segment itself. I'm going to load this one up. It's taken a lot of time to get through what was really kind of a mechanical thing, but at least you get to see how this part of the game plays. What the hell is this? Something weird here. I don't know what it's from. Alright, up it goes.